Look at our Ultra Federal Credit Union ladies. Hello, ladies. Look at them. They're getting ready to answer the phone at 784-KIDS, 784-5437. Miracle Team and a Power Hour. So thank you very much. You know, I'm sure you guys already know this, but we're going to share this because Ultra has been part of Credit Unions for Kids. That's a national partner with CMNH. And in 2016, Ultra raised more than $16,000 for CMNH hospitals. And since the partnership began in 2010, Ultra has raised more than $85,000 for CMNH hospitals. So we're really happy to have you here. So I'm with Julie Ingram. And Julie.
Yep.
The kids are somewhere in the hospital.
They are.
Yep.
They took a little trip.
Jason, Cory, and Heather. Jason and Cory we were going to talk to.
Yep, we were going to make them chat a little bit.
But Heather Gillis has absconded with your children.
She has.
The reason being, Sam's Club brought over hundreds of cupcakes. Now, these cupcakes are decorated in the Children's Miracle Network Hospital's colors.
Yep.
And they spell out CMNH.
Correct.
And somehow
they took the H up to the NICU.
The H is up at the NICU right now.
Yep.
And it took all of them to take that box up there.
Of course it
did.
did.
And it really did. So thank you for taking time out of your day today.
Absolutely.
And I know there's other things that you could be doing just like everybody else, but you chose to come back and give
always.
back.
Yep.
I know. Always.
Always.
So the boys, Jason and Cory, look great.
They are doing fabulous. 17 already. So we've been on this journey for 17 years. Happy, healthy. Looking at colleges, looking
They're
at
senior
their
this year.
their
Both
senior
of them are
year,
seniors. Okay.
And looking at all that stuff, and they've enjoyed being part of the CMN journey since the start.
Take us back 17 years. Now, what month were they born?
They were born in January.
What month were they expected?
April.
Okay. So we have some preemies.
Yep, they were 3 months premature.
Okay.
Cory came into the world at 1 pound 3 ounces, and Jason at 2 pounds 10 ounces.
And when you think about that, I mean, a loaf of bread is a pound.
Yep, a pound of butter.
A pound of butter.
Yep. How many people buy a pound of butter? That was my son Cory.
Amazing. And it's amazing because the guys are here and they are just as healthy as can be.
Fabulous. And it's in part and thanks to the fabulous staff here at Gunderson Lutheran. The money that's been donated to CMNH for the giraffe units, things in the NICU that they've used, things that we needed at home that they helped us with to help the boys thrive in those early days.
Did you and Steve know that the twins were coming early? Did you have an idea?
We had 2 weeks notice.
You had 2 weeks notice. So
actually 1.
Okay.
Dr. Peck told us 2 weeks. They would be delivered within 2 weeks. We made it 1 week.
Were you ready?
In which sense?
Well, you probably were because you're a doer.
I'm a doer, yeah.
You've got that personality that you were probably ready. But I mean, nursery, supplies,
yep.
Emotionally, I mean, where were you?
None of that. But what happened was when we got the early diagnosis of what was going to happen, that we had twin-to-twin transfer syndrome, which basically is one twin is growing at a faster rate, or the umbilical cord's not divided 50-50 like it should be. So Jason was ultimately starving Cory. He had 80% of the umbilical cord, so oxygen, nutrients, everything. So Cory, in order for him to survive, we needed to deliver early. And knowing that, I knew Cory had a better chance here in the world versus in utero. So I was calm. Once we went through the NICU and met the nurses and what was going to happen, they totally put me at ease. I was ready.
Who came first?
Jason came first.
Okay.
Yep. And Jason is baby A, and he came at 2 pounds, 10 ounces, and Cory was a little bit more stubborn. They had to do an inverted C-section because he knew it wasn't time yet, and he was hiding up under the ribs.
And he wasn't going to come out.
Nope.
So your family went from just the 2 of you to 4 of you and 2 teeny tinies that needed a lot of extra care. How long was everybody in the hospital? Do you remember?
Jason came home after 6 weeks. So you think a month and a half without your child. And Cory stayed in for 2.5 months.
What did you guys do during that time?
It became a routine of, I was working here at Gunderson at the time, so I went back to work a week afterwards right away, as soon as Dr. Peck would let me. And then my routine was Steve would drop me off. I would go up to the NICU, see the kids, go to work for a couple hours, go back to the NICU, see him at lunch, work for a couple more hours, and then at 4 o'clock or wherever I was done, we would stay until almost 10.
Your routine sounds absolutely exhausting.
It was.
And emotionally, too.
It was. Every day was a roller coaster. You know, some days things would be really good, and then they would have the backward slides of, you know, we found a hernia, or there's something going on with the lungs. You know, they deflated, they're collapsing. It's a complete roller coaster when you're in the NICU unit.
Do you have family? Did you have family come and help you out?
Yeah, our family was fantastic, but you don't want to like delegate that to family. I think there was one time I finally said, I'm exhausted, and I called my sister-in-law and I said, you have to go hold them. I just can't tonight. And I was guilt-ridden the whole entire time.
Oh, I'm sure you were, but you were absolutely exhausted.
I was.
Is that when, during that time of hospitalization, that Children's Miracle Network hospitals entered your lives?
They did. You know, food vouchers and just knowing that they were going to be there for us. They really came into our lives. And I knew that, like, the draft units that were supplying the heat and the, you know, the womb effect basically was supplied by CMNH. CMN. And Cory always did better when Jason was in the same incubator with him.
Really?
Yep. His numbers always improved, his oxygen levels and so forth. He didn't like being away from Jason.
Well, you know, they've been close ever since.
They have. They are best buds. They get along great. Their circle of friends are fabulous. And they're pretty tight.
Well, we've been having our conversation. We've had 10 calls come in. Let's hear it for 10 calls.
Thank you, thank you.
And I see there's more calls on the line coming
Good
in.
deal.
It's 784-KIDS. 784-5437 is our phone number here at the Children's Miracle Network Hospital's Radiothon. That's what you're listening to.
Absolutely.
And you're listening to Julie. And Julie, your children are somewhere here in the hospital. But they're in good hands.
They are in good hands.
They're with Heather. And we didn't know that Sam's Club was going to be donating so many beautiful cupcakes. Mm-hmm. But the NICU floor is now going to be enjoying the H part of the cupcake.
Yep, they've got
configuration that they brought. Boy, there's some talent. So some of the things the Children's Miracle Network hospitals helped you out with, we've talked about. We've talked about the meal tickets. But what we didn't talk about is the respite care.
Respite care for us was really big. After Cory came home, I decided to be a stay-at-home mom. I left my job here at Gunderson. And because to put someone else in charge of watching their oxygen levels, doing, you know, in case of CPR, checking everything was just going to be too much. I knew nobody else. I didn't want to leave that to anybody else. So Diegel & Berglund came in, trained us a little bit of what we needed to do if we need to replace a gavage tube.
I don't even know what that is.
We did G-tube feedings. Cory couldn't eat yet, so we fed him through a tube down through his stomach, went through his nose to his stomach so he could eat and get nutrients that he needed.
Does that stay in? I mean, did that stay in all the time?
Stayed in all the time unless he kind of pulled it out, and then I would either call D&B or they trained me, and actually I did it.
Oh my gosh. These are things that, you know, you just don't ever imagine. As a mom, as a new mom. As
a new mom, you're supposed to bring your baby home the next day, have family come over, cuddle, have parties, have a normal routine. Our routine was going to the NICU, seeing him in the incubators, maybe holding him. I didn't hold Cory it was a week and a half before we were able to hold Cory because of everything else that was going on with him. He couldn't hold his body temperature. There was just a lot of scary days in those first days that he couldn't even be out of the
I bet you
incubator.
could just hardly hold yourself back.
It was hard. Definitely hard.
It had to be.
Yep.
It had to be tough. When did normal come into your life?
Normal finally came, I would say, maybe a year to 2 years later. That's when we knew that, okay, surgeries were done, the hernias were all taken care of, eye surgery. Then we started to kind of stabilize. But then we were still behind, in fine motor skills, and everything was delayed. And then Cory was more delayed than Jason because he had a tougher beginning. So everything was kind of moved back, and respite care saved me because to get out of the house and do a little shopping, Steve was working full time, and then sometimes I just needed a break. Someone else who I knew could watch the kids and had the care and would feel comfortable with what was going on.
And how many years later did Miss Ashley come along?
Ashley came just a short 2 years after the boys did. So a lot of people would think that they were triplets.
Were you nervous during your second pregnancy with Ashley? Were you
I
nervous?
wasn't, actually. Some people said, oh, what about twins? You want another set of twins? I'm like, eventually they got to be pretty easy. It'd be okay. As long as it didn't start out the same way. But knowing the care that we got here, I was completely comfortable. Dr. Peck took care of us. And I knew everything would be okay. And she then was delivered a little early just because of the C-sections that I had with the boys.
Well, everybody looks like they're doing great.
They are.
We've
They're
talked
doing
about
fabulous.
plans for the future, and it kind of I saw you get a little tense because it's hard to talk about your senior boys getting ready to do a college step.
It's crazy, but I'm so proud of them. Cory is looking at law enforcement. Mm-hmm. So he's been kind of set on that for a little while, and he went up to Sparta, checked it out. That will be a place that he'll be heading. And Jason is looking at nursing. He's looking at actually being a PICU nurse.
I don't know how you could be more proud of those. Well, all three kids.
Yes, I am.
But it's time for Ashley she has a while to decide.
She has a little while to decide.
Yeah.
She would like to kick the brothers out of the house, though, so she can have it all to herself.
There's another call coming in at 784-KIDS, 784-5437. We appreciate each and every pledge that is coming in.
We do. It makes such a huge difference when, people are outside enjoying this day, and you don't think about the families who are up in the NICU. They don't get outside. They're not enjoying the day. They're worried about their babies or their older kids, too. If a high schooler can be sick in the pediatric unit. Those are things that life is still revolving around everyone else, but when you're here, life kind of stops.
We're reminded of it when we leave at the end of the day, and there's still a parking lot full of cars.
Yep.
Because that means that they're here with their kids or their family.
Exactly.
And when you come by at night after the sun goes down and you see all the lights on in the kids' wing, that tells you something.
Yep. There are things going on. Families are up there, and we want to take care of those families.
You know what? We have a great momentum going.
Awesome.
Because I think we're up to 15 calls. If I saw John's fingers, I think we're up to 15.
Well, the boys are 17, so we should definitely
The boys are 17, so we need 2 more calls.
Absolutely.
Because the twins are 17. Can we do that, girls? We can do it. We can do it. See, the ladies at Ultra Federal Credit Union, they put their heels right in the ground.
Yep,
and
dig in.
They will get those calls. We're getting there. I know they'll do it. It's 784-KIDS, 784-5437, because they're taking the pledges coming in.
That is
awesome. So
awesome.
we're at 15, and pretty soon, I bet we'll get those last 2 for the boys.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what? I wonder how many cupcakes those boys have actually eaten.
They probably ate a couple.
I bet they did too.
Yeah.
I bet they did too.
They love cupcakes.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing. And Sam's Club, that was wonderful for their support. We've had a support from the community. It's amazing. Because when it comes time for Radiothon, they're right there. This morning we had breakfast from Subway.
Nice.
We had lunch from Toppers today.
Fabulous.
Yesterday, barachos. I mean, the list goes on and on. And not only is it just, you think, oh, they're bringing food here. Well, they're sustaining us during these 30 hours.
Yeah.
All of us. The families that come in. Because you know what? When you're bringing the little itty bitties in, like the ones we've had today, first of all, we're disrupting nap time.
Yep.
And to have a little toddler out here without a nap,
It's tough.
It's tough.
Our first radiothon was, the kids were smaller, but still not babies.
Right.
But we were watching other kids come in, carrying in the little infants and remembering those days and what life was like, carrying two car carriers and so forth, or Ashley and then carrying the other two. I commend these families who are still putting themselves out there and helping Salmon and knowing that it helps so many.
Well, every time you get the call to come and help and volunteer,
we answer the call.
Never heard anybody from your household say no, ever.
No, we will be a CMN family until our dying days.
Well, that's a testament. It's a testament what the organization does all the way around. Because, I don't think it's easy for you guys to ask for help anyway. It
No.
never has been.
No.
And you don't even think about it, and then all of a sudden it's there. 784-KIDS, 784-5437, our number. We are looking for 17 calls, and we're at 16. We need one more. One more. While we've been talking to Julie, we need one more call. It's 784-KIDS, 784-5437. So what we'll do is we are going to do it.
Yes.
We are going to do it. That's just it. Because we have too many wonderful building blocks here ready to make that happen. We have a community that's generous.
We do.
Incredibly
this area,
generous.
All the way, Black River Falls, Waukon, you can name the towns that help out, that answer the call, that come up and get services. We are a community that comes together and rallies around the kids.
And both those towns were represented here today.
Mm-hmm.
With families and kids.
Yes.
They came from... We got it! Oh! I knew you could do it!
Woohoo!
So we thank you so much, and we thank everybody that called in. I knew we could do it. I knew it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing once again. Sometimes it's really hard to revisit those days.
It's tough, but it's good to remember those days. What you went through, what you can help other families do. Anytime we can give back to help explain what happened, to share our vision or what we did or what we could do to make better, will definitely help.
Thank you so much. You're listening to the Children's Miracle Network Hospital's Radiothon, a service of the La Crosse Media Group.